Hello my friends and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, the Synchro Festival. What is it called again? Looks like the Legendary Anthology Academy event ended, but we still got the Synchro Festival, so that's the important one. And I really gotta move. I know there's a duel pass. I'll just cover that in the next video because I really gotta move because since the Synchro Festival is gonna expire before I do my next video, I really gotta get through everything. So, also before I begin, please like, share, and subscribe, and consider ringing that notification bell. You can ring it for all my content, some of my content, the content you like the most is what I'm saying, or none of my content. And that would be clicking this bell and selecting all, personalized or none respectively. Anyway, let's get into this here. So I'll go over my the loan index first, and then I'll go over the two of my own decks, and then if I have time, the replays. Although I could always just show the replays post festival like I did for that duel trial, if I have to. Hopefully I don't have to do it like that, but yeah. So I'm gonna try to move quick here. So first of all, this first one's Ghoti, the Glimmer of the Deep Beyond. Yeah, it's all about banishing. It's all about banishing your stuff. It's all about banishing opponent's stuff. You even have cards that like either help you banish one specific card of your opponent's or banish all of your opponent's cards as well as the entire field. Although if you do have like a trap in the wing, you can always activate that before your whole field gets banished. Kind of like a better Black Rose that can actually that you can actually get on your opponent's field and banish it all during the opponent's turn. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, it says it says like level 2 Ghotis helps with Synchro summoning. And then you prepare during your turn, and then you can use quick Synchro effects during your opponent's turn. And then it's talking about the card that can banish all cards on the field, but I'll go over that later. Beautiful Princess is one of your starters, allowing you to special summon one of your level 4 lower fish out from the deck. I don't know which one is the best one. I guess it depends on like, well, are there any that like help you get out another one? That doesn't seem too bad. Well, actually, this one is probably like a pretty good summon off of Beautiful if you didn't have anything else, because then like you can just send this one banishes and then simply makes a fish gain 500. So you just target this, but the important thing is to get banished, and then during your opponent's turn you can at least go into level 6. Like, so even with a Beautiful, it still guarantees that you'll be able to go into a level 6 Synchro during the opponent's turn. And all of your Synchros, I'm pretty sure, well, a lot of them are fish. So you won't be able to go into everything during the opponent's turn, but you'll be able to go into the pretty good fish Synchros. Yeah, so of course if you have more, like you may be able to do more, like if you have this one in your hand, it's pretty good. Unfortunately it's not a quick effect, so but like if you have Zep in your if you have Zep in your hand and you have Beautiful, like what you could do instead then is like you can normal summon the Beautiful, do the lifeless leaf fish. Yeah, the lifeless leaf fish, and then the lifeless leaf fish again, like it banishes one of them. But this time it doesn't really matter which one you banish, the Pisces or Shift, because like what you're gonna do instead is you're just gonna banish like whichever one you sent to the graveyard off of the leafless this time. To special summon this. Or, no, to banish this one. And now instead of like only being able to go for a level 6, you now can go for a level 8. So yeah, so sometimes you can go for more, but at minimum, you should be fairly easily able to go for level 6. I mean, if you also like just simply had the lifeless, like that also gets you into a level 6 play. Even if really like all you had to do was send the shift and then once again banishing it to have this gain 500. So yeah, there are plenty of ways to at least go into a level 6. This is a pretty nice one, because like this just lets you special summon. I can see why people like this. It's basically a free special summon of a tuner, which is pretty good. Though it does lock you into just synchros, but if you're only playing synchros, it's pretty good. And of course it's really good here since you're only allowed to play synchros anyway. And then I guess this can also like help you extend. That's another extender. And then Icejade can basically is also another extender. Icejade is another extender. That can help you go into high synchro plays. So like if you have a few of the extenders, you'll be able to go into high synchro plays. But at the very least, like as long as you get the right cards, like you might at least be able to go into like a level 6. I guess it does kind of stink when you don't have a very good hand and you can't go into anything. But I'm not sure what the chances of that are. I'm just like trying to tell you like what you can make happen to at least go into level 6. And then Gold Sarcophagus, of course, another way. Like this can help you basically get another banish to like extend higher. If you like only have this and like basically nothing else, which I'm not sure what the chance of that would be, like having just a Ghoti banish with nothing else, I don't think any of these can really help you, like if they're alone. I think you need at least one other monster to make something happen. And then of course this is pretty nice, like drawing 2, and if you banish a Ghoti, that doesn't really matter. Do have to normal summon, well, unless you can maybe special summon some of these, but it might be worth it for the draw 2 if you didn't really have a very good hand. Maybe hoping you can draw into something good. Yeah, and then this is a searcher. Also can help proc your Ghotis a little bit easier by banishing them. Called by the Grave, it targets your opponent's monsters, but that's still good for like negating stuff, making sure your plays go through. Yeah, and then of course different dimension ground, really good for you. Although like I wonder if dimension shifter was available, because this could have easily just been a dimension shifter and probably would have achieved about the same thing. But yeah, it's certainly good since it like you don't care if your monsters get banished really. And then it really disrupts your opponent. Infinite impermanence, Ghoti chain. Yeah, see this. Yeah, see, what you can do, what a cool thing is, if you have this set and then you're about to banish an entire field, you could just activate this in response. Banish the fish that banishes everything, which I forget which one that is. I think it's this. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. And then because you banish it, you just get to special summon it right back. So that's pretty cool. Although I'm not sure if it has to be. I think because it says Monster Zone, if you accidentally put in the exit Monster Zone, you should still be able to get it, I think. And you have a few continuous traps that like maybe wasted a little bit if like they end up being banished, but that's not a big deal. Like it's still like generally worth like a field banish. despite that. Like, and you only have the one that's a continuous trap. Yeah. Yeah, all of these other ones can generally be activated in response. Maybe not all of them, but you are banishing the entire field, which is pretty big. Hopefully you already got them activated, or you can just like chain them in response. A lot. I mean, like, you probably already got different dimension ground activated, maybe got infinite impermanence already activated. Generally, it should be fine. Ghoti Cosmos. Yeah, just offers protection. Or potential sync summon also. Yeah. And then Fish can, is another negation. Yeah. But I mean, the condition shouldn't be too hard. It is a counter trap, which can be good for you. And then, yeah, Coral Dragon, it's not actually an effect, but is a tuner which might prove useful. I mean, it's not actually a fish, but it's a tuner which might prove useful. I think all of your Synchros are still water at least, so they at least share that. Yeah. And then Geonpus, I'm not sure how relevant the banishing level 6 or lower fish is. Actually, no, this is relevant. I think you're mostly going for the lower level Ghotis, because I'm not sure how good these are when they're banished. Actually, if you already have, if you have a Ghoti second in your graveyard, this one isn't bad to banish either. And then it like banishes, and then it adds itself back to your hand. But this one I don't think really has an effect when it's banished. Yeah, so probably either that one or one of your lower level Ghotis are probably gonna be your best options. And then also like it also has a way of banishing fish monsters in and of itself, so that's cool. So like if you only had like one in your graveyard anywho, it's probably better just to banish it with this effect. Yeah. If you can get into the graveyard, like if you can go from a level 6 or higher. Yeah, and then this one can special summon itself back. As well as this one. So there's a few cards that also help with the banishing. Negation, you have to have a water in your graveyard in order to do it though. Yeah, and then special summoning itself back. You can banish that opponent's monster. So like this one is more when your opponent attacks into this, you can banish it. I'm not sure if they'd be dumb enough to attack into it, so you'd have to wait until your own turn, and then you can still banish it, but that would be a little bit. But if you have to, and then that can just like banish a lot of stuff. This one, yeah, it could like more destruction. This isn't too bad, although it kind of competes with Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. I think most of the time you kind of want a full just banish wipe. Although I guess like if your opponent doesn't have much, maybe it's better to go for this. And then later on maybe you can get like a 1 card banish. And also he protects himself. But especially if you also have like Ghoti Chain in the back row as well, it might just be better to go for Ghoti the Deep Beyond. Because like in response to his banishing everything except it. Wait, no, it just banishes all cards on the field anyway. Oh. So it's gonna banish itself either way. That's cool, so it kind of protects itself in that way too. And then, Trishula Zero Dragon. Level 11. It doesn't banish as much, but it still banishes a few cards for the opponent. So cool. Okay, and then here's the next deck. It's a Resonators. It's called Harpy the King. And the deck description reads, a deck featuring ace cards that are Dark Dragon type Synchro monsters such as Red Dragon Archfiend. By sync summoning Red Rising Dragon with Crimson Resonator and level 4 monsters, possible to sync summon Red Supernova Dragon that has high attack, powerful effects. Use trap cards such as Red Rain and attack ferociously. So yeah, this is more of a Synchro spam deck for your turn. The last one was more of a Synchro spam deck for your opponent's turn. Like, usually during your turn, you really only bring out one Synchro monster. And then during your opponent's turn, you're bringing out like quite a few. But for this one, you can still sync summon a little bit during your opponent's turn, but I think most of it is going to be during your turn. Because you do have a trap that lets you quick effect synchro. But yeah, I don't think the last one had effect failure, but this one does. So that's cool. I'm not sure if Different Dimension Ground was gonna kind of run the way of effect failure, because I'm not sure if it's like it also counts hand traps. If it also counts hand traps, I suppose it could also be relevant. Like maybe if you're activating something like Ghoti Chain during the opponent's turn, you may want to make sure. Well, no, they can still ash it, but like I guess like effect. Well, no, I don't know. Like. But I guess it's like relevant sometimes. Maybe like Ghost Ogre. I don't know, like what you would want. Maybe like for your continuous trap, then they can't Ghost Ogre it. It's probably not that big of a deal, but there's that. Anyway, Effect Veiler, Synchron Resonator, yeah, like a lot of ones that can like either start up your plays or extend your plays by being able to special summon. And the cool thing about Synchron Resonator is it's probably going to be pretty easy to special summon it, especially like if you're going second, like then you can just special summon it just because the opponent has a synchro. Yeah, and then of course Red Resonator can help get out a level 6 right away, as long as you have a level 2 and then one level 4 in hand. And then Crimson Resonator, this is good to be able to trigger, get out 2 Resonators, but you don't want to, but you want to make sure that you only have this and like one of your synchros. That's, I mean, they're all Dark Dragons, so that should be fine. But yeah, you want to make sure that it's only them two, or else you won't be able to like actually like bring out 2 Resonators. And then Creation, it's another one that can special summon itself. A little bit harder than the Synchron, but it's also a little bit higher level, so that may be kind of cool. Witch of the Black Forest can like help you search for your monsters if you happen to get unlucky, like, and maybe you just need to set it. Or, I mean, you could always just special summon off of Red Resonator, and it'll still get its effect in the graveyard. Just make sure that you don't grab something that you plan to use the effects of. And then Zephyros. The cool thing, like, once it's in the graveyard, it can get another special summon of itself. But you do have to return a face up, which might be, like, relevant sometimes. Red Gardener. Like, I don't know, like, how much its effect really matters. But it's a level 4, so that's cool. Like, and maybe its effect will matter. Wandering King Wildwind. This is a pretty nice one. Like, especially if you already, like, brought out a different level 4, then you can just, like, special summon this one, as an extender. Or, well, I don't know. Anyway, I guess it also allows you to be able to, like, not necessarily need to have Red Resonator to bring out level 4, like, because you can just special summon this one to the field with its effect. So if you happen to have Crimson, you can bring this out. Oh yeah, and if you use Crimson as the first thing for the Synchro, like, that's not too bad, because as you'll see, the first Synchro you go for usually it is gonna allow you to, like, special summon a Resonator out of your graveyard, so you'll be able to like get that Crimson back. And then Red Familiar. I guess it's also a special summoner, but it's a little bit harder to special summon it. But yeah, you have a lot of level 4s, so you should be able to like not whiff a lot with the Red Resonator. And then Raigeki to Disruption. These are all like basically Disruption or Extended cards. The cool thing about Resonator Call is it's not once per turn. So if you have multiples in hand, like maybe like, and you don't really need all the Resonators that you search, maybe you could like use one of them as bait, which I think is kind of what I did. But my opponent didn't take the bait anyway. But yeah, you could use one of this as bait if you know your opponent's like sitting on a Baron, for instance, or like maybe they're sitting on a back row, maybe you think it's like a negate or something, or like they could have Ash, so like there's also that. And then Resonant Destruction. I guess this is like basically revenge if they tried. Well, no, it's not revenge. You just like you get a little bit of a bonus when you Synchro summon, basically. Clashing Souls. Easier time destroying stuff in battle, which is a little bit relevant for some of your Synchros that get effects whenever they destroy something in battle. So maybe it's like better to like beat them in battle using this card than to necessarily like destroy them in other ways. Burning Soul. Yeah, allows you to recur stuff. That's cool. And it's a quick effect recursion. I'm not sure how much of a difference it'll make being a quick effect in this deck, but hey, that's cool. Yeah, and then this one can basically trade out any of your Resonators for your Wandering King in a lot of cases. Yeah, Wandering King probably the best. Hopefully you have another Resonator though, in hand, besides just that one. King Synchro. Yeah, then this can like negate attacks on your Synchros. That's cool. Synchro Call. Yeah, see, this is the one that allows you to quick effect Synchro on your opponent's turn. And then these Synchros do have some pretty nifty effects. So like you could get out a pretty cool one to disrupt your opponent. Yeah, and then Banishing. Wow, this one even has mash banishing. Though it does also banish your stuff too. So if you have multiple monsters, you might want to be a little wary. Although if it's going to help take care of your opponent, that may not make a difference. Yeah. And then this is like special summoning too. It's not quick effect Synchro though. But though it does give you a Synchro extra attack, which is nice. Is it until the end of the turn? It's until the end of the next turn, so you should be able to like make use of that. Finish Chain, more negation. Although it's not infinite impermanence, interesting. I guess the other deck wanted to use infinite impermanence rather than Phoenix Chain because like infinite is a normal trap and Phoenix Chain is a continuous trap, and having more continuous trap would have gone the way of like their like mass banishing that they're probably gonna go for that one Synchro most of the time. Although infinite impermanence is probably the better card anyway. Red Wyvern. Yeah, see, this isn't the level 6 you go for most of the time. This is gonna be the level 6 you go for most of the time. Although I guess if you want to destroy something, and you don't necessarily need to special summon something out of your graveyard, you already have enough extension anyway. Maybe you could go for this guy, but most of the time you are going for this guy. Because this one can just special summon a Resonator from your graveyard, which is important because if that resident happens to be Crimson and you don't have any other monsters, well, now you can like do the Crimson effect. Oh yeah, and also the cool thing about Crimson is while you control no monsters, it's also a free special summon. So yeah, do have quite a few ways of being able to like special summon like some kind of monster to go into synchro play. Yeah. And then Red Dragon Archfiend. Probably not the level 8 you go into. So I guess if your opponent happens to have a lot of defense position monsters, you could. Though I think most of the times, like, you have better options at this point. Void Ogre is kind of cool if you don't have any cards in your hand. Like, if you like played all of your stuff and then you just like set the remaining maybe like excess spells or traps, you could get a negation of a spell or trap. That's pretty cool. Hot Red also kind of useful. Like, again, if your opponent has a lot of attack position monsters, though it does destroy yours. So maybe like, if you're planning to go on into it, maybe you just like, put your monsters in defense position if you can. And then, yeah, this one, like, helps take care of monsters even if they're not in attack. So that's pretty nice. If your opponent has a lot of special summon defense position, maybe. But maybe if they're trying to get around like Lightning Storm or something, because I think it's also like Lightning Storm is a card in this format. If they are like special summon, this can take care of them instead. Well, they do need to have like small enough attack, but considering this is like 3,000 or less, that should be fine. Chaos Ruler can help you like search for more of your cards while like sending the others to the graveyard. And I mean, you do have a few graveyard effects, so that's not necessarily too bad. Hot Red, negation. This is a good one if you can go into it during your opponent's turn, because it's a quick effect negation. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. Not a quick effect, though it does allow you to special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend monster. It does say monster, so you still don't have to have Red Dragon Archfiend. It can just be one of the others, so like, you still don't have to worry about bringing out the Red Dragon Archfiend in order to make this useful. So that's pretty nice, because most of the time, I don't know if you really are going to care about the original one. His effect is kind of made irrelevant at this point. Also can help you special summon tuners, which is good because like a few of your high level monsters do require multiple tuners. Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. Destroy everything, so that's cool. Negation. It's another way to negate a spell or trap, though. This is okay. Red Nova Dragon. I'll go through first. Negation for attacks. But this is probably the more relevant one. Also, because this one requires the original Red Dragon Archfiend, so this might be a little bit hard to bring out since most of the time you probably don't want to use the original Red Dragon Archfiend. Although at least this one becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while in the field. I guess if you go into that. But this one is probably the more relevant level 12 maybe. Although, I mean, this does protect itself from being destroyed by card effects. But this is real nice to bring out during your opponent's turn if you can. Because it just straight up negates everything on the field. Unfortunately, it doesn't negate new stuff coming in. But if your opponent has a lot of stuff on field, it could be relevant. Yeah, and then it can just like replace itself with something else on destruction. And then this one can just become a really big beater that also banishes a bunch of stuff. And it only banishes stuff your opponent controls this time. So you don't have to worry about your own stuff getting banished. And it special summons itself. Yeah, so yeah. So even if it banishes itself, it comes back. So that's cool. Okay, and then the last one is Icejade, the Mystery of the Imperial Jade. The deck description reads: an Icejade deck with Icejade, Glimmer, Adrian as its new ace card. Not only does the effect protect monsters on your field from being destroyed or banished by your opponent, if you activate on your opponent's effect, you can further banish your opponent's cards. Powerful Synchro monsters can also be quickly special summoned by utilizing level 7 tuner monsters such as Icejade Creation, Kaijus, so be proactive in summoning them. Yeah, so Icejade. This one was also in the first loner deck, so I don't know how much I need to talk about this. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, one of it. This one has 3. Though I guess I didn't really talk about this too much. It is a special summoner. I'm not sure how often you're actually going into your synchros though. Because what tuners do you have? Like, is that the only tuner? That's crazy. That's the only tuner? Oh, you have these. Oh, okay, so you do have searchable tuners. Okay, well, at least you have some searchable tuners. I was wondering what tuners you had. But it's relevant that these are searchable tuners. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, so Adrian can search for one of your spells or traps. It can search for your field spell if you want that. And the field spell is useful not only because it adds back one of your Icejades from your banish or graveyard, so maybe it's a little bit better for late game, but also it helps give you it helps make the first effect of Icejade Curse live, so now your opponent can't activate effects of monsters that was summoned. So, which is actually pretty cool. It's kind of like a skill drain for monsters that your opponent controls that was summoned that turn. Like, so it's like a temporary skill drain, which can be pretty relevant. And then Icejade Cradle, you can also search for that. That can search for a monster. So this is probably pretty good for the early game. And yeah, like, you get the tuner with this, so you can pretty easily go into level 10 right away. Although it sucks that you don't have Bearer on, but they really wanted to keep the water theming. Or you could search for a manifestation if your opponent has a monster. Like, now instead of just searching for it, you get to special summon it. Which is good if you didn't have like a way to special summon this. Anyway. Icejade Acti allows you to send a water monster from your hand to graveyard to draw a card. You do have a few Icejades that want to be in the graveyard. This one also helps you send them. This one, yeah, it's mostly this one that wants to be in the graveyard. They do have other effects too, like allowing you to, oh yeah, this one also wants to be in the graveyard. So you could also just send this, like, discard this. You could also send this off of like another one of your actives, since it just says water. Yeah, and then special summoning a Icejade from the hand and graveyard. And then Tanola, yeah, also has a graveyard effect too, so that's cool. Tremora, yeah, this one's pretty nice because like you can get out one of your big Icejades that's stuck in your hand, which is especially relevant if you like search the Icejade Creation and now you want on the field to go into a level 10 Synchro play. with maybe the Adrian. So now you can do that a little more easily. And then Creation Kingfisher can just equip itself. And it also like helps like to compulse stuff. And also makes it so that your Icejades can attack while in defense, which is pretty relevant for a lot of your Icejades because a lot of them have really high defense and lower attack. Well, at least a few of them do. Anyway, Icejade Cosmocla can just special summon itself while you have a field spell. Or no, while there is a field spell. Although it does gain effects while you have your field spell. And then Raigeki, Destruction. Forge Burial Goods, what card are you sending with this? What card has a graveyard effect? I guess this one does. Yeah, this one does allow you to banish something opponent controls. And I'm not sure how many others do. I think that might be the only one. So you're really just sending this one with it. Unless your traps have a... Okay, yeah, you have a few of your traps at least. Yeah, no. So it's going to be the Manifestation Ice Barrier. Depending on which one you want more. If you want a mill or you'd rather have a banish. This one's probably better if you're going first. Although I think since it's a trap, you can also like do this mill during your opponent's turn too. Which I'm not sure how relevant that is. But it's cool. Yeah, and the manifestation, besides having that graveyard effect. Yeah, I already explained what it does on field. Field spell, I don't think I really explained this. Oh yeah, this like helps get your opponent's monsters within range to be able to like return them to the hand with the Icejade creation. Also, it pairs nicely with this guy since it like lowers the opponent's attack even more, which was actually pretty prevalent for the duel I was faced with. And then Infinite Impermanence is negation. Icejade Erosion is special. Well, no. Oh yeah, this is like negation, as well as also being able to special summon from the deck. So that's a preview of nice effects. And then the Synchro pull just got a little bit of disruption, a little bit more return to hand, return your own stuff to hand, or return your opponent's stuff to hand. Also maybe some discard outlets where that's relevant. White or Dolphin, like so like a few other cards that can also like help lower the attack power of the opponent's monsters, because sometimes you need them to be lowered even more to make sure they get to range to be able to like return them to the hand maybe, or just destroy them in battle. And then Destruction, also you have a little bit of like recursion with some of these synchros recurring themselves, which is nice. I think you may be banishing some of your opponent's cards somehow, so this might be relevant. Although you can like shuffle your own cards back that were banished back into the deck as well. White or Rail is another one that can special summon itself by banishing your stuff, and then you can like shuffle it back later with Deep Sea Prima. Once again, the Animancipator for negating, although this one might trigger. Well, no, I think like either way, but like this one is probably a lot more likely in Icejades to trigger to have the negate, just because you're not banishing as many monsters, but you'll probably have monsters in the Ghoti in your graveyard hopefully as well. You don't have to go into it if you don't have like monsters though. Trishla for banishing, more banishing. Yeah, see, this is one of those ones that can like banish your opponent's stuff. So there you go. Now you can like now you have something. But you do have to add their banish card to their hand. So maybe just like choose the one that's the least good for them. Yeah, and then more negation. Although I'm not sure if you have a way of sync summoning during your opponent's turn. So this is really only negation for your turn, I think. White or Bahamut. Special summoning tokens. Interesting. Oh. So it's pretty cool that has like so much attack and defense, though. That's crazy high. Oh, it's the same stats as this. So that's cool. You basically get two monsters with really high stats if you really want that. Sword Soul Supreme, again, like banishing, removal, also protection for itself. And then Icejade, this is actually on theme. If you need to go into if you need to have an on theme synchro, you have this. I'm not sure how, it's probably a lot easier to go into your higher level synchros, because this one I don't think is as searchable as the Icejade creation. So most of the time I think you're going into level 10s or higher, so maybe just keep that in mind. Yeah. Though it is also pretty easy to go into level 11 as well, I think. So yeah, and at least this one can is another way to be able to cheat out a Trishula from your X-Circle graveyard. Probably the easier way of bringing out. Though it does negate its effects, so no banishing. But though this one also banishes, so that's cool. And then Icejade Glimmer. It just straight up helps protect your monsters from a lot of different forms of removal. And I guess it has specific banishing, removal on with itself. And then you may be able to trigger the whole when a card is banished. Oh wait, when a card is banished by your opponent's card effect. I'm not sure how much that will come up, but it has recursion to it too, so great. Okay, so I think I should be able to go. Okay, actually, I'll show off my decks real quick. I don't think hopefully I'm not going, but I think I'm doing fine. Too bad I can't really check the time. Yeah, but this is my deck. This is, I think, the deck I eventually went with. There was another deck I tried, but I want to go with Dark Magician. Cool thing about Dark Magician is it's pretty easy to go into level 10 plays. And of course, the best level 10 being Baron. But I mean, you can also do the Gamma play if you can, to go into the Excel and then go into Baron. I use this because this is a little relevant, since you can just target itself and a card your opponent chose to banish them, which is how I'm going to be doing that. But yeah, and I also have I just have a variety. These are just a lot of these are just in case I can go into them. Not necessarily I definitely will. But yeah, Baron is probably gonna be the biggest one. And hey, so and I also want to show you that even if you don't have a lot of relevant tuners, just remember a lot of the hand traps are still tuners. So a lot of the ghosts, all of the ghost also happen to be tuners, and the effect veiler happens to be a tuner. So you should have something in the way of tuners. So maybe just use a deck that doesn't necessarily need the X deck too much. That has some pretty good main deck plays. And like if you can happen to like use them with like a hand trap tuner, go into Synchro play that way, you can definitely do that. And of course I have some pretty good plays I can fall back on. Like Illusion of Chaos isn't too bad to go into. Because it does have a negate. And then of course like I have a few disruptions. I should probably be playing the trap that like is just a mass negate. I should probably be playing infinite impermanence. Oh wait, no, I'm not playing infinite impermanence because I like Effect Veiler because it also acts as a tuner. But yeah, I should probably be playing the trap card that like is a mass negate for the Dark Magicians. But I'm not sure what I would like take out for that. I forget what it's called, but hopefully you know. Yeah, maybe I can go into related. Is it even allowed? Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, just a mass negate. Probably should definitely be playing that one. And then Salvation helps me. So I do have a few ways of going into Eternal Soul. Either maybe I stack it and then I can bring it out with the Dark Magical Circle, or I can bring out with the Magician's Salvation, or I just hard draw it. And then Piercing the Darkness is just more draw. Call by the Grave, more negates. Chaos Form, how I go into the Ritual. And then the X deck just filled with a bunch of like Synchro good stuff. Negation, returning to the hand. My opponent just can't activate anything when this attacks. Probably not that good, but like, hey, like, it's what I had, pretty much. This can just like special summon stuff in my opponent's graveyard too, so that can be kind of cool, especially if they have something really good in their graveyard. Maybe they have a Baron. That'd be cool. Banishing Synchros, which is really relevant for this festival since my opponent can only go into Synchros from the X deck, and so there probably will be Synchros to banish. Destruction. This is pretty relevant since I at least do run a few field spells, so I can like maybe draw a card. Also Destruction. Fortunately, every banishing. Also, I do play spellcasters, so I probably will be able to special summon it. Adding Nista, pretty cool. I can go into this. I can at least destroy one of their back row, and then when this is in the graveyard, I can like shuffle back a card when one of my cards are destroyed by battle and opponent's card effect. And then Stardust Dragon can help protect me from destruction. Probably not one of those cards I'm going to be going to a lot. This one is a pretty nice Synchro as well. Banishing when the opponent activates a monster effect. And that also goes for monsters like in the hand too, so that's pretty cool. And then like it can like multiple attacks too. So maybe it can be like an OTK enabler, self OTK enabler. I already talked about that. Miss one, mass removal. But it does return them to the hand, but like if the X deck monsters, I can return them to the X deck. But if I'm also going for game, maybe like it doesn't matter where I'm putting them. And it says up to, so even if I don't want to target it, like exactly 3, and my opponent doesn't have exactly 3, it doesn't need to be exactly 3. So that's good. Anyway, so there's that. And then I'll go for one more. The other one. I'll show off the other one that I was using before it. This one is more of a meme deck, or like a deck you can use, like maybe if you don't want to actually like follow the regular Synchro rules. This is one that I saw off of a YouTuber, so I kind of like copied it, but I did make a few changes. So yeah, this is basically Owner's Seal Kaiju. Like, the X deck doesn't really matter, because like that's not your win condition. What your win condition is, you want to have these three cards. You want to have Owner's Seal, Leeching the Light, and Jizukiru. If your opponent already has a big attack light, maybe they're on like Blue Eyes or something, maybe you don't necessarily need the Kaiju. But with the Kaiju, you're guaranteed to have your opponent have light, or the Nibiru can also guarantee your opponent to have light. And then basically what you want to do is you want to have as many, it doesn't matter what their attacks are, but you want to have as many attack position monsters on your side of the field as possible. So this also like helps you get a few extra attack position monsters on your field. And a few of the dangers can maybe put themselves on the field into attack position. It kind of stinks that this only puts danger on the field in defense positions. That doesn't really help with the game plan, but it does help to maybe like filter out the deck a little bit and or like draw another card. Anyway, so yeah, that's what a lot of the danger is also going to be used for, like helping to dig through my deck, getting to the main three combo pieces. And then basically you're winning you're trying to win in one turn. But I guess if you don't, you do have like Maxi or Nibiru to maybe like hold them off a little bit. Alpha, maybe if you need to return something to the hand, but it's another one of those ones where you can like more easily just special summon it, have another attack position. Okay, so once you give Jizukiru to your opponent, you just Owner's Seal it back, and then Leeching the Light, hopefully have enough attack position monsters, enough to get gain. You want to make sure that you activate Leeching Light before you take back your Kaiju, if that's the one you plan to target with the Leeching Light. That's why I'm only playing the light Kaijus, because like this can only target lights. Okay, and then like some of these other ones, like Hoppy's Feather Duster is used to make sure that like back row doesn't get in the way. Like monsters don't necessarily matter as much because I can just Kaiju the biggest threats there. And what's cool about Kaijus is I can also tribute like face down monsters. So like even if they're face down, that doesn't really matter. Dark World Dealing, just another way to help like dig deep into my deck. Can't really play Upstart like because like I like heard like the guy saying like Upstart just makes it harder to OTK, so you don't really want to like give your opponents life points, even though that also helps you dig deeper. Yes, I mean it's probably not generally a good idea just like giving your opponents life points when you're trying to deplete their life points. And then Pav's Eyes, just another way of digging deeper into the deck. Hopefully you don't banish all of your combo pieces, but you are running 3 of each of them, so there's a good chance you won't. Yeah, and then again, the X deck doesn't really matter. You can maybe run some X deck, like some, like maybe like you can still run like the good ones like Brone or etc. Like maybe in case like your opponent happens to have a tuner in the graveyard, maybe you can still go into a Synchro play. It's still possible, but like it's definitely not needed. But it can come in handy sometimes. So maybe if you did want to play like Brone or other good Synchros, you certainly can. Anyway, there's that deck. Yeah, I definitely don't think I have time for replays. I'm just going to go ahead and call it here. And I'm sorry, I'll just show replays in the next one. I know it'll be post Synchro Festival, but hopefully I helped those who wanted to be helped by at least explaining how the decks are meant to work. And I hope I gave you some good ideas at least. So you can just think of the replays, since they're going to be after the facts, as more like fun moments, like maybe like my experiences when I play the deck. You don't necessarily have to like take it like real seriously since it's after the fact. I hope that doesn't sour a lot of people, but I don't really want to like divvy from my schedule just for that. Anyway, please once again like, share, and subscribe, and ring the notification bell for however you want to see my videos. The ones you like the most, all of them, which is mostly Master anyway, or none if you're just subscribed to me just to be helpful. I'll leave the thank yous in the description as well as the verse. I'll try to get them by the end of the week, as well as the verse discussion in the pinned comment. Okay.